Well, I mean, that's what they.
Got it.
I think.
Love history. There'll be 20.
Something through there under here that.
Yeah. I can't remember, but just a lot of history. Months and you have to. I think, well, but it's, there was a section on subdivision, that was because I didn't have any, I was longer planner for years. Then I got called. I guess subdivision, then I get some questions. Now. On that part. Anyway, I passed it. It's a high bar. You're gonna have somewhere around 80%. It just depends. It's year to year. This
Jordan on it.
how low the curve goes. Yes, wherever I was actually back there. Example, one of us, we studied. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, the last game was 1 hour, so we studied from 4 to 6. So hour of our time, our company. We studied together, read lots of books, study guides, things that came out. That house stood there for 2.5 months before.
Did they check them out? Still work.
I've had others just say, I got lots of experience. You better get books, you better know the history. They're really big on history and ethics. Those are really important. We'll have 10 questions on theory. So you gotta know. Everything's changed now, so you gotta know a lot of new things. It's like the Green Bible. I had the second edition. I lived after that for a long time. And then before I retired a few years ago, I bought the 4th edition of the Green Bible. It's vastly different. I see they didn't. Yeah, they used to be bright fluorescent. Now they're it's paper. Yeah. Well, I just did but it was very different. Yeah. Anyway, it's great. It's nice to have that. Those letters after you name somebody else and say, what that stand for? I said, it stands for any idiot. Because I try to keep myself humble. Anyway, I have time.
Talking about that.
Thank you. Always small.
$500 and now
I haven't seen his name on here.
It's here. This is it. No, I just gotta do first aid. First aid, prayer and.
How are you?
Or yes.
That's what I'm from. Him too. Yeah, just. One, yeah, you can just take them too. I'm not here with the skateboard.
Well, I am just gonna have to do that. I don't look. Probably not.
Well, you do use it.
Yeah.
And it's up to you if you want to use it. Either way.
That's a long thing.
Well, it is 6:30. We'll go ahead and get started on our planning and zoning meeting. We'd like to welcome you here. Good to see you. For our November 20th, 2025 meeting. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, and Tammy will lead us in that.
I.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Katie, can we have the roll call, please?
Randall Kempton. Sally Smith.
Here.
Aaron Richards.
Here.
Jim Lawrence. Bruce Casper.
Here.
McKay Francis.
Here.
Brian Thackeray.
Here.
Vern Muir.
Here.
Dan Hanna. Tammy Geddes.
Here.
Anybody online tonight? All right, we need an approval of the planning and zoning minutes for November 6th, 2025. Anybody would like to do that?
I move that we approve those minutes from November 6th, 2025. As was stated in
Okay.
Do we have a
action
second?
here.
Second.
Thank you. Thanks, Vern. Okay, any other corrections to those minutes or discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or anyone not here? Guess you guys have reviewed them probably, so, okay, all right, very good. We have two public hearings tonight. And I have asked Aaron to go ahead and conduct the first public hearing because I feel like I have a conflict of interest on that, being a neighbor there. So I'll let you go ahead, Aaron. You want to come over here?
Nope.
I'm perfectly fine right here. Okay, we have public hearing for Builders First Source Lumberyard CUP located at approximately 1076 South 12th West. Application is to allow a lumber yard in a CBC zone. Turn the time over to staff.
Thank you. We do have some representatives from Builders First here to answer questions if they're needed. But they've asked me to present. So this is Builders First is looking at moving their facility. This is located over in the old Iron Horse building. Well, the new Iron Horse building. This is off of University Boulevard. The new Good to Go is sitting right here in this corner. High school's over here. Down here we have John Deere. And then kind of kitty corner to it is Rexburg Motorsports. So this is zoned as community business center or CBC. And this isn't allowed use in the zone, but with the proposed storage yard, outdoor storage yard, that's kind of what triggered the conditional use permit. So this would be listed as, let me get this right. It would be listed as, oh, where'd it go? Sorry. Well, it'd be listed as an allowed use with a conditional use permit. When staff has looked at this and believe it's in a good location, we're able to service it and meet all of the needs there. And so staff is asking you to recommend to City Council that they approve the conditional use permit.
So just to clarify, so the structure, the building itself is what's allowed under zoning, and then the lumber yard, the outdoor yard is the conditional use?
Yeah, so the building and the retail sales and all that, yeah, that's an allowed use in that zone. It's what triggered the conditional use permit was the fence, the outdoor storage yard.
Outdoor storage.
Yeah, it will have to be screened with slats or whatever. So all of the materials inside the yard will be screened from view from the right of way.
Would you use the cursor, please?
Yep.
Identify the location.
So this is the Iron Horse building here. And this is an older picture, so they have all these camp trailers out here in the yard. I believe it is just this parcel that we're looking at.
So that's it.
And this is currently fenced. But it'll have to be, like I said, we'll have to add some screening to it.
So dumb question. There's not a conditional use permit
Currently for that property?
Currently.
No.
for the outdoor sales.
No, because it different type of product.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the property adjoining west?
To the west? Well, let's see. Currently
Rexford Motorsports
right here. Yeah, Rexford Motorsports owns this and they
store edition.
store additional things there.
And there's no CUP on that.
No, I do believe that one's fenced as well. Does not appear to have slats in it, but
Okay.
It has the same fence.
it has the same type.
It's fenced on string.
And
There you go.
sunscreen.
So what's the tipping point? The fact that it's lumber versus
I think it's the type of product you sell. That is not something I'm 100% on, so I can't give you a clear answer. But have you read the staff report?
It has wheels. It doesn't use wheels.
Mm,
I didn't see anything in the staff report that said one way or the other. I that's more just curiosity. You can have a bunch of machines in a yard.
Yeah, I mean there'll be, I mean they'll have forklifts running around. There's going to be lumber and like the packaging materials and all that. That's stuff you wouldn't see with the trailers, for example.
True.
You know.
Yeah.
So if I'm just speaking off the top of my head, that would be my guess as part of it. Like the screening would help it to not be a nuisance, more or less.
Okay.
What would be the service point for receiving trucks, et cetera?
As far as like deliveries and stuff, I'm not aware of what their plan is for that. I do know that this property is definitely a good fit for that.
I can speak to that.
Can you? That would be great.
If you click into the agenda, we have a copy of their proposed traffic plan.
Oh, do we?
Yes.
Which one is it? Do you know? Is it one of these?
Try the Rexburg, Idaho SPV2 at the bottom.
There you go.
Oh yeah, there you go. Can you see that?
Yep.
Let's see. So it looks like they'd have
And I can,
trucks entering. So the trucks that all exit from this south exit, is that correct? The south.
yeah, so what we're looking at on the existing, and it might be easier to see from the original Iron Horse, where the building sits, you've got 12th that runs down in front of that. There's a private road that runs up behind that. We would route the trucks off of 12th up behind onto that private road, would come into the property, have the trucks pull in parallel there, unload, and then or pull out onto 12th and out that way.
Okay.
So it would keep the majority of that traffic from being on 12th and bottlenecking that like we currently have on Main Street.
On Main Street. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point. And then you won't be able to get out while the high school is leaving. So
Actually, we should be fine. We've looked at the traffic flow on that, and if we
there's
head
enough
out,
egress.
yeah, there's enough
Yeah.
egress to make that work. And
Okay.
we don't have, it's not a high volume of trucks that are moving. We're usually load up early in the morning,
Yeah.
and then we'll have some afternoon deliveries. But again, it's not generally a high volume of vehicles that we have going in there. Same thing with the trucks. Our operating hours are from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. 5:30 during the summer. That's when the majority of our business obviously is the mobile bus that would have that hire, and the school is not going to be in during that.
Mm.
While they will have activities and things, we kind of taper off a little bit during the
During the winter.
months,
Yeah, that's a good point.
depending on the seasonality of the building, of course.
Yeah.
So
Fair enough.
So Kyle, will you go back to the other photo then?
The parcel vat.
Yep.
Yep.
And so I'm sorry, your name.
Donovan.
Okay, Donovan, would you mind showing us one more time, showing it on this one right here for us?
Absolutely.
Show us where that private road is.
Okay, so.
You can use the mouse if you
I
want.
can use the mouse on here. Okay. So the traffic would come down in through here. There's a private road that runs right up along here. Runs out behind where Rexburg Motorsports is storing their stuff. There is currently a gate and an entrance right here. And we would enter the trucks into there. Our retail traffic, we would be bringing in and bringing them around the building. Currently, we've got an integration on Main Street where our retail traffic is intermixing with our truck traffic.
Yeah.
We'd like to kind of keep a separation of that for the customers, and then they'll just go out and enter back on here and return.
So the consumer won't be going into the lumber
No,
yard
not-
any
I mean,
longer?
if they do, they will be exiting right out through here. So we're not going to
Yeah.
have a lot of traffic down on this side. I mean, from an anticipation standpoint, I would think that for our business moving in, it's going to be very similar to what Iron Horse has been. I mean, they have vehicles coming in there. They're hauling tiny homes in and out of
Yeah.
there. Those travel trailers, 35-foot, 40-foot travel trailers, which aren't much off the size of our trucks. And then
Sure.
they also operate longer hours and through holidays. That's the other thing for us is we're closed during most of the major holidays that are recognized. So you're not going to have that kind of traffic. Whereas where Iron Horse would have been open during all of those, and that's kind of their busiest time. So it should be less impactful for kind of people in that area during that time.
Mhm.
So,
Okay, that private road that runs in there,
uh-huh.
do you have the property to the north of that?
So our property ends on that road. Ball Ventures has those 3 lots. We've been working in
Oh, okay.
conjunction with them. So that's a shared road, and then it's a shared road down the back. So we.
All Ventures, how about,
Yeah.
okay.
Any other questions for staff?
Curiosity, what's the zoning on lot across the street from the
For where the good to go is,
That'd be CBC.
farm area across 12th?
across 12th. I believe it's CBC. Let's make sure. Yep, it's all community business
Yeah.
through there.
Okay.
Yep, you have a little bit of LDR3 down here to the southwest, so the properties don't even touch, but yeah, and then public facilities to the north where the school is.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
So Kyle, what would move it from a CBC to a light industrial? Like if they were cutting their lumber, would that move it to a light industrial?
Industrial is more of a manufacturing
Manufacturing.
zone. where
So
it's
not even
actually-
just cutting the wood necessarily isn't part
Right.
of that. Okay.
Yeah, just cutting
So-
boards to length, that doesn't qualify.
Okay.
But
Okay.
if you're like putting a product together, like, I don't know, a car,
Trailers.
well, that's kind of extreme.
Yeah. Yeah.
Truss
the
plant type
plant,
stuff,
right.
thank you, yes.
And so you won't be doing any of, that's not part of this
We have
business?
very limited use on that. The only thing that we currently have are our floor joists, which we will cut down from 60 feet to whatever that 2-foot length is that's needed, and that's fairly minimal.
Okay.
Other than that, we don't cut any other lumber. We don't have any other manufacturing equipment that's in there.
Thanks.
Will you still manufacture the trusses out of the truss plant?
We will. Yep. Yes, this 8.5 acres that we're looking at here is solely for the retail sales and the lumber sales with a future expansion for some storage buildings to enclose some of that material. But right now, that's.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing portion of the meeting. There you go. I don't have the knocker. So we'll go ahead and start with all those that are for the proposal. We have 2 registered, and we'll invite them to come up, state your name and address, and you've got 3 minutes. Vondell Erickson, followed by Donovan Menz.
Signing up.
And sorry, I didn't know I was signing up, but I will say, I happen to be the location manager of the one now.
Can you give us a name and address real quick for the record?
You bet. Sorry.
Thank you.
Vondell Erickson. My address is 337 North, 2500 East, St. Anthony, Idaho. And like I said, I am the current manager of the Builders First Source here in Rexburg. I just want to say this is much needed. If you know anything about the current facility that we're in now and how we have to go about business with the fact that we have to come off of Main Street, and everything that we have to do, this is much needed. The other thing you guys got to keep in mind with this also, a lot of people were worried about the traffic coming in and out, but a lot of the problems that we have also is there is not a truck stop anywhere in Rexburg for truckers, overnight truckers to stop and to stay. A lot of times we get them staying in the front of our parking, which makes it very, very difficult. At least with this, they're able to get on a private road if they do happen to come in at night or very early or whatever, that they're able to get off the road and find somewhere to stay for a while. It's a big dilemma for them because there is nothing in our area. They can't stop anywhere, if they don't meet our working hours and show up beforehand or afterhand. So it's just something to think about. That this is just a well-needed thing for us to get off of Main Street, get off of that by the railroad tracks. We get situations where we have trucks backed up 3 and 4 at a time that literally have to park out on that main road. And it's kind of a sketchy situation with also the amount of trains that come down that train track. Now, luckily, nothing's ever happened, at least in the time that I've been there. So it's just a really good thing, and it's much needed, I think, not only for the community, but for us as a company, it's much needed because we need the added room to basically take care of our customers in a growing area.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Donovan Meng, 4184 East, 315 North in Rigby. I am the market manager for Builders First Source, and I just like to say that we feel very blessed with the opportunity to look at this property. We've been trying to relocate for several years. We've been a part of the community since the 80s, and our facility is just undersized, and quite frankly, it's not a good benefit to the city where it currently sits. We feel like there's safety concerns for our people and for the city where we sit, just from the amount of trucks that back up across Main Street during the day, and that side of it and the material that's moving in and out of there. We feel like this location is ideal. It moves us away from the middle part of town, gives us some room to stretch our legs, and I believe that it should not be any more impactful to any of the businesses or surrounding things than the existing Iron Horse facility was. Again, we don't have a lot of moving equipment other than our forklifts and trucks that are coming out during the day. So we just hope that you'll approve this application, and we'd like to get moving forward and continue to grow in the community.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that is here to speak for the proposal?
Hello, my name is Jared Klingen Smith. I live at 536 Angela Drive in Rexburg. I've been a contractor handyman for over 15 years, and I've probably been buying stuff at BMC or BFS for a good 20 years or so. And with the kind of work that I do, I'm there sometimes 5 times a day, in and out, just because of little job here, got to get this, little job there, got to get that. And you don't know how many times, how much frustration I find when I have to try to drive my truck around 20 new bunks of plywood that have just been stacked at the end of a row of lumber that I can barely make it around. So my big push is, let's get more space. If we can just have more space for all the contractors coming in and out. And I see the issues that happen on the main road going in there, but man, I also see the issues of the space that we're trying to find inside that yard, just as a contractor, trying to either get a trailer to go around corners in that place or trying to back up when 2 or 3 other contractors and 4 forklifts are trying to get all their stuff. So I'm all for them getting out of that little landlocked, property locked, railroad locked lot that they have they can't expand unless they go up. You can't drive semis up. You got to keep it on the ground. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else speaking for? Okay, we'll go ahead and ask for those that are neutral to the proposal. Anybody neutral? Seeing none, anybody against the
I'm gonna
proposal?
speak neutral real quick.
Yes, go ahead,
My
Sally.
name's Sally Smith. I live at 512 South Mill Hollow in Rexburg. I do own the property at 1278 South 12th West. And I guess the concern, I don't really have a concern. I just want to listen to what you're doing. Was the in and out truck traffic and what that would do to an already really busy University Boulevard. And I'll mention this and you can answer in your rebuttal or whatever you want to do, but do most of the semis come off Highway 20 north and south? So you're really not going to put any more traffic into town than that. And then also the only other thing that, as you know, we've said that this is really not that different than John Deere or BM or Rexburg Motorsports. But really, it is a little bit different storage as far as trips, I would say, in and out probably. But seeing that you are going to use the private road and not go back onto University or 12th too much. And I agree, it's needed to be moved out of town forever. But I'll just ask you to please do something really fantastic with that corner that's left on Main Street in Rexburg. But
We're actually putting it up for sale.
yeah, I know, but be careful, make it something great.
Oh.
Yeah.
We'd love it to be something that adds to the
Yes,
community.
please.
It's been a little bit of an eyesore and we understand that.
Okay, yeah. all
We
right.
want to move as bad as
Okay.
they want us to move.
Thank you, Sally. Okay, so that was neutral. Any who want to speak against the proposal? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and turn the time over to the commission for deliberation.
I would say internally, we should look at this and just ask why somebody has to come in when it's under the proper zoning. There's already similar businesses that have yards and things like that. Like,
It's a different type storage yard, I think.
yeah,
And that might be something you want to look at, except it is a little bit of a protection.
yeah,
Anyways.
Well, and I guess a question for staff, does the CUP, does that go with the deed or does it go with the, meaning does it stick with the owner or does it stick with the land?
So it's listed as an allowed use with the conditional use permit. So I know that CUPs are attached to the parcel, correct?
Okay, so it'll continue with the land.
It will, but I think if the use changed, it may or may not be required.
Okay.
If they move in here, I don't see that happening. The use, I mean.
Yeah.
So.
So another 30 years. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, my opinion is, yeah, as has been mentioned already on the record, trying to get out of there with a pickup truck full of lumber sticking out the back with little plastic flags. This is a huge improvement. And it's also going to reduce semi-traffic, obviously getting them off of Main and on that just a single block of University. That's a huge improvement as well. So makes sense.
To back off of that, this is traffic that's already in Rexburg. We're moving it to a more optimum place, in my opinion, from what I've seen. So I have no problems with anything that I've heard tonight. So.
Kyle, I didn't notice the last time I was out there, the width of the road for 12th West.
Uh-huh.
is it at such a width that it will allow for 3 or 4 lanes already?
Where Iron Horse is now?
Yes.
Yeah, so when they developed that, that was one of
Oh,
our
with all the next-
requirements.
Okay, that's what I was
Oh,
thinking,
yep.
which fits very well
Yeah.
with what they need to have
Yeah,
for these trucks.
yeah, it does.
So I actually asked my high school age child. He said just high school kids can't drive, so keep them
Yeah.
away from the trucks. But I think that that's what is happening
luck.
here. So that was his biggest concern, was just looking at the, high school kids running into trucks, and it looks like it's been alleviated with what they've decided to do there.
Yeah.
So
College kids can't drive.
Yeah, that doesn't get better a year later.
Is there any indication of what Ball Ventures is looking at doing with those 3 lots?
Well, we
Probably that I'm aware of. I've heard rumblings, but that's about it. I haven't seen or heard of anything serious to even tire kicking at this point. Alan might have a different perspective. He's a little more in the know than I am, but
we can talk about that after the meeting. Just because that doesn't really apply.
yeah, it doesn't apply to this.
Entertain a motion.
Okay, like to entertain a motion?
I would make a motion that we recommend to city council to approve the CUP application at 1076 South 12th West, allowing a lumber yard in a CBC zone as recommended by city staff and meeting all requirements that we have, that we've gone over tonight.
I second that.
Sorry, that's me. Okay. The motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, do we have one little discussion in between that?
Okay.
Can we discuss one thing?
Oh, yes, we have a motion and a second and a discussion.
Okay, so I have one more question about this. So, and Kyle, again, it's going to you.
For sure.
In the city on Main Street, there was a way for fire department to get there quickly. Do we have what we need for fire protection out where they are for this? Because this is lumber.
Yeah.
So
And that's
we
a valid
got,
point.
I'm assuming we have all of the hydrants and whatever we need
Yes.
to help with all of this in this business area.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I believe when Iron Horse developed this, they had to put in a fire hydrant or 2.
Okay.
I know on the staff report as well, it states the fire departments looked at this and they're
Okay. I just wanted to double check to make sure because it is lumber.
Smart.
So perfect.
So,
Okay.
thank you.
So a motion first and second, and I just wanted to ask that question. Thanks.
Oh, good clarification. Okay, all in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All right, motion carries. I will turn it back over to you, Sally. No, you take it.
Okay. Our next public hearing is Signature Student Housing Sky Bridge, and they're also asking for CUP that we learned about this last week and talked about it. This is located at approximately First South and First West, and the application is to allow Sky Bridge in a CCT zone. And Bart is who's presenting, you or?
Yeah. He asked me to present as well.
Okay, Kyle, go ahead.
So this one, we're looking, he is looking at redeveloping these properties. And I'm not as skilled with that as Alan was. I can't draw the line over it, but it's basically these 4 here. And then from this house around the corner and including this one as well for this property. He has brought in 3D model if you'd like to look at it. I have some renderings if you'd like to look at those as well. This conditional use permit, however, is for the Sky Bridge. Right, and I know we just barely went through the Sky Bridge code edition recently.
And so just to clarify, the bridge would be going over West First South?
Yes. Yeah, right in here somewhere.
Okay.
Yep. We've had a lot of conversations in.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
So it is traversing the road.
Yes. We began speaking with Bart months ago on this.
So this is going.
There you go. And he asked us about it, and we didn't have any Sky Bridge language in the code. And so we took the time that we needed.
Yeah.
And spoke it through with all of the departments. Public Works was a big part of it, fire, a big part of it, legal was there. And came up with the code that we've looked at, you guys have seen, and it's been approved now. It's part of the code.
Okay.
One more clarification is normally when we're looking at a zone change or those things, we don't look at the product, you know, that may or may not be attached, but because this is a CUP.
Correct.
We evaluate the project with the end product in sight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah. And it provides some visual aids of what the Sky Bridge would look like and all of that. I can show you some renderings if you like.
Before you leave that spot, will you, oh, never mind, you've already have.
I can go back.
Well, if you'll go back, will you give me some reference?
Okay.
Give me just some
Yeah,
reference for.
I'm sorry, I apologize. North Point is right here.
Okay.
If I zoom out, this is, oh my gosh, what's the sandwich? Jimmy John's.
Jimmy John's.
Thank you, Jimmy John's. This here is Porter Park along Second West.
That's where I go.
We're just right back in here.
Is that the accounting office and then single?
Right here it is.
Yeah. Where it used to be.
And we have Hemming Village is just right here.
So they're going to remove the accounting. Is it the accounting building that they're going to turn into this, or is it on my office street?
It's, I'm not sure. Is this the accounting building here?
Yeah.
No, which one is it?
That was the accountant, right?
It was.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's
Cyril Hart.
County.
Yeah, Cyril Hart's building.
Okay.
okay. Yeah. And then Cottonwood's just up the street.
Church
Okay.
on the corner there.
Mhm.
That way to the west.
The church is right here, yes.
Back there.
Parking lot is the churches, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
And so the structure is this for business or is this housing?
It'll be student housing.
Student housing, and remind me what the CCT zone is?
Oh, this is in our form base area. So that would be City Core Transact.
Okay, I didn't see it on my cheat sheet.
Yeah.
Thanks.
This would be one of the first projects in the new zoning.
One of the first. They are currently also building the one next to the post office.
And oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep, but you're right. Yep.
When you say student housing, does that mean like literally student housing?
Single
Single
student BYU Idaho student.
Tell me when you want it.
Anytime.
I'm happy.
You're more than welcome to come and talk about your project.
Well, thank you, Colin. And I just, I think first and foremost to thank the staff because I came in, like I said, in August and asked Alan if we had two pieces of property, what would be the ramifications? What would we need to do to be able to connect those properties, not only for safety for the students, but to get more pedestrians off the road, to connect those two buildings. It'll have 324 people on that street going back and forth. If we put them up in the air, what would that do? What is there any code that would be available to address that? And he said, I'll have to look into that. No one's ever asked. So I think at that point, and I think Alan brought this up, when the ordinance originally came to you, I was kind of asked to stay out of it because it didn't want to be specific, just like McKay said, to any specific project. It needed to be general. And then when a specific project comes in, it needs to be under a CUP so that it can be reviewed and looked at and by staff. And so all that they've done to check with Salt Lake City and how the City Creek ordinance was developed and how the St. Luke's Bridge over in Boise was developed, what kind of language would we use here? And so I just appreciate staff working on that so hard and legal working on it to come to the ordinance that we came to. And then in order that we can present this, not only to connect the buildings, there's letters from the university in your file, I believe. Katie, do they have access to those letters from the university stating they would really appreciate the opportunity of connecting buildings and keeping students off the streets as much as we possibly could? So
with that in mind, we wanted to try to present this in a way that's going to make a product that, can you bring that picture? Yeah, there's the rendering. This is looking from about the entrance into North Point's parking lot on the west side of North Point. And there's another one. Now Johnny Watson took it upon himself to draw that mountain in the background. I don't know for sure how we're gonna build that. But we can do the building, but the landscaping, we're not gonna be able to do that. So then this is looking from the other way, looking to the southwest. And I believe there was, when Alan was presenting the original ordinances, there was some concern about, what about trucks? What about semis? And so I had them put that in the rendering so that you could get some relationship of space to what that's going to look like with a full-size semi coming under that. Our bridge would connect the third floors. The floor level on the third floor is 21 feet off the. So with a 3-foot girder for construction, we'll be at 18 feet off the street to the bottom of that, which the staff signed off on, making sure that we were a minimum of 16'6" off of the street to allow for, I think as Alan pretty well described last time we were here, it hasn't been very long. It was just
Public
night before last that it went to council, so.
for the student housing.
It just needs to be
Public
student.
use, will other students have access to it, or is this just the
Yes.
students that are in these buildings?
Yes, it's open. The building's open.
They
We
can-
don't
so
lock the
anybody can
buildings.
walk up there and go across it.
As of now, unless the university changes their policy, but as of now, it's open. So this is, the building on the left is similar to the town center building that's just being finished by the post office right now. So the amenities for all the students, male and female, are mostly in the women's building, which is the building on the left. So they'll have fitness facilities, they'll have music areas, they'll have study areas, they'll have lounge areas, they'll have a bishop's office, they'll have all those kinds of things in that side. So on the right-hand side will be the men's portion of that, and they will just have access to go back and forth without getting on the street, without getting outside. It'll be heated, it'll be fire protected, sprinkler protected. So I think it'll be something that will look nice. It'll be different than anything that we've done before. But I think the benefits to having that, tying those buildings together is great. The university wrote a letter, I think Katie had that in your packet, hoping that this would be able to be approved. And I think that's all the renderings we have besides the 3D model, which gives you a little bit of perspective. Oh, there's another one. Yeah. Now this one is the one that Keith didn't like because it's got the name on the Sky Bridge, and that got X'd out on the later ones. We won't put any advertising, any signage, anything there that would distract from public right away for driving, for anything. Plus, it's all going to be enclosed, which I think, is kind of a no-brainer for Rexburg, because it'd be, I think, impossible to keep the snow and ice off of that if it was like, for instance, a couple of the bridges that are down by Trolley Square that have access to weather getting into them. I think this one will look nice that way, so.
Mark, where will this be in relationship, the bridge be in relationship to the parking areas?
We have a site plan. The site plan is kind of on that model. Vern, sorry, I don't know if we have a site plan here.
There you go.
The approaches they'll be clear to the west from that. So the approach coming into that, and with the new project too, this is something that I've been working with H&K as they've been replacing that road to bring in. They put a manhole centered there about under the bridge and brought 8-inch main sewer to both sides. They brought 6-inch water to both sides. We did the curb cuts such that we'll fit that so that we don't have to tear the road up and cause a problem with redoing curb and gutter and redoing streets and everything else. So once this is, well, they're almost finished over there. And once they're finished, there won't have to be anything happen to the road. We've got curb cuts and everything done for the approaches. That span on that building, the span on the bridge is 103 feet, building to building. There's 23 feet, 6 inches from the back of the curb to the structure on each side. And then there's a 60-foot street back to back. So there's 103 feet that'll have to clear span to make that.
So literally, this isn't, I mean, I know the students can go back and forth, but
Yeah.
It's really not a public.
No,
You gotta
no,
go in
that's,
the building and-
that was spelled out in the ordinance that it doesn't have to be maintained accessible for everyone. And I think it actually came up in council that, you know, I think one of the members had a concern that someone could start living in there if they, you know, if we didn't have any control over the whole deal. So I think that was spelled out in the ordinance that we would still have some control for access in that, just for safety reasons and for, you know, the ownership of the business.
So if I'm understanding the scope of the project correctly, you're putting most of the amenities in one building and focusing on housing on the other, and the Sky Bridge just makes it easy for the tenants to make it back and forth to access the amenities.
Exactly.
Without going outside
Yeah,
and crossing the road.
and this wouldn't have been, we wouldn't have been able to do this last year because the men's building and the women's building can't touch. But that's been changed. So as long as there's some type of an amenity between the buildings, they can touch now. You could have men and women in the same building as long as you had a common area, fitness center or something in between that. So I don't know how many people are aware of that, but that's a big change. So this would not have been able to have been done when McKay built the Cove. He wouldn't have been able to do this because they wouldn't allow those to touch. And so I guess we're kind of taking advantage of the proximity of the property, the distance between the property. There won't be any type of support or structural coming down into the right of way. It'll be full 103-foot span. There was a time when it would make it a little easier to do if we could come to the back of the sidewalk with some support. But then you've got a permanent support. And originally, when I talked to Alan, I think Keith was concerned, how would we possibly give up or abandon right away? And so I think as they were able to discuss this with, Katie, you cut me off if I'm out of line here. But I think as they were able to discuss that with other municipalities that have done this, it's just basically an easement that's only there for the life of the building, and that's why it's in a CUP. So when the life of this building is gone and somebody comes in there and wants to build a 75-story skyscraper, that CUP goes away. It's only with the life of the building. So you, as a recommendation, or the city council as a vote, do not have to abandon anything. And I think that's a big concern when you're on council or when you're making those kinds of decisions. If you have to do something that's permanent, that's an abandonment permanently, it's hard to do. When it's tied to this structure and this structure only, and it goes away when this structure goes away, or if there's new owners and someone lets it fall in disrepair, anything that happens, all those are, as you know, in the ordinance that say, you know what, this is only going to be effective as long as you guys take care of it and keep it looking nice and keep the windows clean and
Any other questions? Okay, we'll go ahead and open the public portion of the hearing. It'll be the same as before. If anyone would like to come forward and speak, first of all, for the proposal, then please come forward, state your name and address. Anyone neutral to the proposal?
Greg Newkirk, 975 Westwood Drive in Vicksburg. I think most of my questions were answered in the presentation. That's what I was expecting. If they weren't at this point, I was going to address a number of concerns to raise issues that I thought would need to be addressed. But there's still a lot more details, I'm curious about, but I don't think they need to be handled in this meeting to satisfy my curiosity. So I I have no reservations about this design, especially given that the CUP resides with the building and not with the land. I think this has been well thought out as I've heard the presentation. And I have no concerns at all.
Thank you very much. Okay. Anyone who would like to speak against the proposal? Okay, seeing none then, and I don't think we need rebuttal, then we're good. We'll go ahead and close the public portion of the hearing. And commissioners, go ahead and start your discussion. And for those of you who weren't here, we did spend a lot of time last week learning about the Skybridge ordinances and what's allowed and what the restrictions and rules are. So I think we know.
May I ask someone out there a question?
The
Hancock's.
well,
Looking at that picture right there,
where's your house?
is your home across the street from that or around the corner?
Down,
Just down further
beyond to the left.
That's south first west. So
That's our house right
Right here?
There. Okay.
that's up on.
And this is up on the corner?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is.
where Sally Thompson used to live.
Okay.
Okay, McKay, did you?
I was just gonna say that, I really appreciate that we saw this in stages. And I know that our city staff went to a lot of effort to go look at these other cities and how things were written. This was new territory. And so by the time it got to us to approve this, it was helpful to see that it was done in a legal way and something that could be used in the future. And we live in an area that could highly benefit from more, less pedestrians on the roads and crosswalks. But I just wanted to state that I think it's great that we looked ahead at what this could become in other situations. And it wasn't specific to this, but we're doing things in a legal way that other cities have already tried and succeeded at.
Thank you.
So I went to, when I was going to college, I stayed in Cottonwood and I walked up and down that street for years. And so I'm a little conflicted seeing it change. What you're planning to do looks fabulous. It's really going to lift up that, but part of me doesn't necessarily want the change, but everything that's been proposed has been well thought out and I don't see any problems with it, but
Things change. Yeah.
I know. It's weird.
We know.
I would say I'm definitely in favor of the application. I think similar to what McKay has raised, hopefully it'll spark some creativity for other of our very urban areas. When you start looking at linking uses, I mean, obviously campus is already doing it, but to take it into the private sector, I think is a big leap for our community. So I'm definitely in support.
Anyone else? Are we ready to entertain a motion?
I'll say just one thing, the fact that you have 324 students you're trying to get across the street, that's a lot of students. So I think this is a great way to make that happen.
Well, and that's both buildings, so that's. men
Okay.
And women, but I'm kind of assuming there's a pretty good chance they'll go both ways.
Could happen.
Girls tend to like boys, boys tend to like girls. So I think the thought that we can get that off of that intersection, there'll still be, just as it's mentioned, there's still apartment complex. So there'll still be hundreds of students on that crosswalk. And if they wanted to, they could come in this building and go up the elevator to the third floor and walk across and go back down the elevator or the stairs and then make their way if they wanted to. But I don't see that happening. I see mainly it happening with the residents. Yeah, that's for
And visitors.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we recommend to council for for their consideration approval of the signature student housing Skybridge CUP, in that the applicant has met all the requirements of staff and the new it is in alignment with the new ordinance.
I'll second that.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we will send this on. Thank you very much. Good presentation. Okay, looks like we have a rezone on December the 4th coming up. Anything else, Katie, that we need to know about that you know of?
So far, just the one rezone.
Okay, all right. Okay, we will stand adjourned and thank you everyone for being here.
I think that's what I was.